Shanika Malcolm es facilitadora de bienestar y acompañamiento espiritual con experiencia en prácticas de sanación holística. Cuenta con más de 10 años de trabajo profesional y una formación que incluye saberes tradicionales desarrollados durante más de 2 décadas. Es originaria de Jamaica y ha trabajado en países como Estados Unidos, México, Ecuador y Colombia, donde ha facilitado talleres, retiros y espacios de trabajo comunitario. Su trabajo se orienta al desarrollo de prácticas de bienestar sostenibles y al fortalecimiento de comunidades que incorporan saberes tradicionales y formas de cuidado colectivo. Hoy en el Ágora, Charlas con Ángela, conoceremos su historia.
Muy buenas tardes, amigas y amigos. Bienvenido a su programa El Ágora, Charlas con Ángela. Hoy tenemos una invitada muy especial. Tenemos a la influencer, a la feminista, Shanika Malcolm. Bienvenida a nuestro programa, Shanika.
Thank you for having me.
Vamos a empezar hablando de tu infancia en Jamaica.
Well, I left Jamaica when I was 6 years old, but I have fond memories. So when I was 6, I left because of violence in the country and violence that happened to my family. But then every summer I would go back to spend time with my grandmother. And it was some of the most impactful memories I have because I remember her house has a big garden in the backyard. And every day she would go and pick stuff and cook, and I would help her with the process. So it left a love of nature and gardening and the mother within myself. And then when I was 10 years old, my family was living in Philadelphia. We left Philadelphia and we went back to Jamaica where we lived for 2 years. And I got to go to school there and connect back with my culture.
Shanika, ¿y tu vida en los Estados Unidos, cómo fue? Déjame te muestro esta imagen.
Yes, North America, we know it well.
¿Cómo fue su adolescencia y sus años en Estados Unidos?
Well, my teenage years in the United States was a little bit difficult because remember I said my family went back to Jamaica for 2 years. And what happened was that me and my mother and my sister returned to the United States, but she became a single mother because my father went to London. So being the oldest child of my mother and father, a lot of responsibilities fell onto me. My mother worked a lot. And then in turn, I ended up working from I was 12. I started working so that I can help my mother. So it was a lot of work and challenges that I had to move through. And I became a teenage mother. I got pregnant at the age of 16 and had my first daughter when I was 17, because of many different issues.
¿Cómo fue esa vida tuya con un bebé? Y creo que también en algún momento tú perdiste una hija.
Yes. So my first daughter, Shania, it was very challenging with her because I was a single mother too. Her father wasn't present. And when I got pregnant with her, it was in my last year of high school. So I had to stop school. And later, after I gave birth, I had to go to night school to make up the credits that I missed. So being a teenage mother was very challenging. And then my daughter, when she was 3 years old, she died. And that was, a life of many challenges, but those challenges have made me who I am today. Someone that is resilient, someone that loves, has a voice of justice and to speak up for those who don't have the voice.
Muy importante y muy interesante. Déjame mostrarte esta foto.
Oh, yes, this is my personal Facebook page.
¿Cómo fue tu vida en Pensilvania?
Well, I grew up in Pennsylvania. That's where I spent most of my life. Specifically in the city of Philadelphia. It's a very historic city. It's known as the City of Brotherly Love. So it's one of the founding places of the United States. So it has a lot of history, a lot of culture. It's a melting pot because people from all over the world are in Philadelphia. So it was a beautiful place to grow up with so much culture and history.
Y tú en Filadelfia tenías también un emprendimiento.
Yes. Well, on my journey, I love holistic healing. So I've studied a lot over the years and I've been an entrepreneur. So when I was about 21, I started my entrepreneur journey. I had a passion for nutrition and foods, especially plant based vegetarian food. So I went to school and I studied nutrition to learn that. And I started to make a living for myself by coaching people, by even preparing foods and selling at events, and even teaching people about improving their health through nutrition and plant based eating.
Te muestro esta otra imagen.
Mexico, yes.
¿Tú viviste en México también un tiempo? ¿Cómo fue tu caminar por México?
Well, I moved to Mexico in 2021, and it was more of an adventure because it wasn't planned. I grew up in the United States undocumented, where I didn't have documents to do everything that other people would do. So in 2021, I got the opportunity to do this survival show from the Discovery Channel called Naked and Afraid. So I had to make a decision. Do I stay where I am, or do I take a leap of faith and start a new life? I decided, well, I'm here in Colombia. Obviously, I had to make the decision to start a new life somewhere else. And it's been an amazing journey because I've lived all over Mexico and being able to experience that culture and the beauty there.
México es un sitio muy interesante y seguro tú estás feliz de haber ido allá y haber hecho ese paso tan importante por esa cultura. Cuéntame cómo fue entonces tu vida en Ecuador.
Ecuador was very beautiful because I went to the Pacific coast where there is a lot of Afro-Colombian. I was looking to expand my roots and connect to the culture more of the African descendants. So it was a beautiful experience.
Ahora te muestro esta otra foto y me cuentas.
Oh, yes, the Foundation for Intentional Communities. This was just a few days ago, I gave a presentation. So the Foundation for Intentional Communities, or as they go by, IC.org, is an organization in the United States. And it's an organization that I love personally because it has helped me on my search for community. So 17 years ago, I studied permaculture. I learned about intentional communities and eco-villages. And I was able to use that website to connect with different communities and people who are interested in building community. So they're like the top foundation in the United States for intentional communities and eco-villages.
O sea que de ese aprendizaje que tú has hecho, ¿qué dirías tú que es lo que más te ha impactado de las comunidades?
I would say it is the importance of eco-villages and communities because so many of us live in this modern society and we have a lack of, extended families and communities to support us. Humanity, we've lived in small villages and communities for a long time. So community is very important as a foundation for us to thrive. So as a single mother, I experience the lack of community, and it has inspired me to find community, to build community, and to really understand the importance of community wherever I am. And it's the same for every human being. We are wired for community and connection. And when we don't have those needs met, we have issues. We suffer from isolation, depression, all of the modern things in society is a symptom of a lack of community, lack of support, lack of awareness of the things that we really need to prioritize as a humanity.
Yo creo que hay una autora que se llama Chris Gotze y lo que ella dice es muy importante porque ella dice que lo que hay que hacer es crear comunidades y no irse acumulando dinero. Te muestro esta otra foto.
Oh, this is a video. I make a lot of video for Instagram and share these messages.
Tú eres un influencer que tiene muchos seguidores. ¿Cómo llegas tú a tener tantos seguidores y tanta gente que está escuchándote todo el tiempo?
I would say by doing the inner work. to find my voice and the message that I'm bringing to the world. Because before, I've been on the social media a while now and sharing, but something had to shift within me to really clarify my voice and how I can be of service. So I feel like when that transformation happened in me, people feel the message deeper. It goes beyond what I'm saying. There is an energy behind the words and the transmission that happens. So when you can speak to people and they feel it, it's a different thing and they hit that follow button all the time.
Una maravilla, ¿verdad? Que tú hayas podido llegar y cambiar en esa forma para poderle, pues para poder comunicarte mejor. Déjame, te muestro esta foto.
Oh, this is a photo actually with me in Cali, Colombia, which was the first place I landed and lived when I came to Colombia.
¿Y qué estabas haciendo debajo de ese árbol?
Connecting, when I see a beautiful tree like that, it calls to me. So I sat there and connected with the tree and meditated in that space.
Bueno, maravilloso. Déjame, te muestro esta otra imagen.
Ah, yes, that is a clipping of my Naked and Afraid experience in Chiapas.
¿Cómo fue esa participación tuya en ese reality?
It was an amazing experience because, how often do you get the opportunity, well, to be naked in nature and to experience life, like your ancestors before there was technology, and having to survive in that environment. So it was very much like an initiation for me, with Mother Nature to be able to put all the things that I've learned and the lessons and the strength from my journey and be able to connect and survive in that environment. It was very powerful and transforming.
Porque fue una experiencia de resiliencia increíble y además porque tu compañero pues prácticamente no alcanzó a hacerlo, pero tú desarrollaste allí también la ética del cuidado.
Yes, it was definitely an experience of resiliency and to use the tools that I had to not only care for myself, care for my partner, but also walk lightly and in care of the earth.
¿Tú crees que tú lo volverías a hacer?
I would do it again, yes. It's a magical experience to be that raw and connected with nature.
Bueno, yo vi tu film y me pareció que algo que no mucha gente puede hacer, porque sí fue una forma de poder conquistar el mundo y conquistar la naturaleza.
Thank you, Ángela.
Shanika, déjame te muestro esta imagen.
Because I have a lot of, different thoughts about society and ways of living and being, and really tune into expressing my soul's medicine and gift here to see the planetary transformation and the healing that is necessary. Yes, that was one of the videos I made and posted on Instagram.
Pero tú allí hablas también, hablas de política, del mundo, del patriarcado. ¿Cuáles son tus puntos de vista sobre la nueva sociedad?
Well, I feel like the society that we live in now, as we know, there's many problems, and it is connected to the patriarchal system that we've been existing in over the last few thousand years. So for us to create a new society, we have to shift from those values that we've been operating on for so long from the patriarchy and find more values that are in supportive of life, matriarchal principles that give and nurture and protect and care for, oneself, one's family, one's community, but also the earth as a living organism, which is our only home and it supports life. So if we are still operating off of the patriarchal values, even how we do business and commerce as corporations that take and extract and then pollute the earth, it's madness. So we have to look at all those things and the ways that we used to operate and find more ways to operate that are in a higher alignment with the future and the outcomes that we want.
Sí, esa es una lección. te muestro esta otra imagen.
The natural pools of Palomino, yes. Well, this is where I find myself living now, Palomino in the Sierra Nevada sacred indigenous territory. I felt called to come to this place because it is truly special.
Shanika, ¿cómo llegaste tú a Palomino?
I got to Palomino through synchronicity, being led and guided by spirit and my intuition. So when I was in Mexico, I have a very good friend. And when I told her I was going to go to Colombia, oh, she said, wow, I have a friend in Palomino that you really have to connect with. So before coming here, a year before I came here, I connected with my friend Ethan, and he told me about the territory and the amazing things happening here. And I eventually felt the call and I came.
¿Y tú viniste a Palomino con tus hijas? O sea que hiciste un movimiento de tu vida.
Yes. So since I've left the United States, I've been moving with my children. I kind of ask, where's the next place that is in alignment? And I go. So I was in Cali with my three daughters. And it's a beautiful city, but I'm not a city person at heart. I'm always led to be in nature and immersed in the natural world. So at some point, it just didn't feel right. So I had to go to Palomino and connect with nature and live in nature.
Una maravilla. Déjame, te muestro esta imagen.
Beautiful. Yes, Nashira. I'm grateful to have found Nashira, and it was through online. I found Nashira before I came to Colombia, and then Motherful, Heidi from Motherful reached out to me and told me about the she ed happening in Nashira. So it was a synchronistic alignment that brought me to Nashira as well.
Entiendo que tú estás pensando en ayudar a construir una ecoaldea parecida a Nachira en Palomino.
Yes. So, I don't know, 20 years ago, I knew that I wanted to live in an eco village because it just had everything that I've loved: community, healing, nature. And I've been carrying that vision for a long time. So I've been looking where would be the ideal place for that. And the Sierra Nevada here in Colombia is such a sacred and beautiful territory. So that is the vision to, get land here to steward and to build a beautiful community that can demonstrate the matriarchal values of care and show people what the planet can be like when we shift our priorities from extraction and profit and accumulation to care and justice and higher consciousness.
Mucha suerte en ese esfuerzo. Déjame, te muestro esta imagen.
Beautiful. So an elder midwife.
Entiendo que tú has hecho también incursión en lo que tiene que ver con parteras.
Yes, for many years I've been working as a doula and a midwife. When I had my first daughter, she was born in the hospital. I was 17, but she was born naturally. But afterward, even before that, my mother had my little brother, and I accompanied her to the hospital as a doula when I was 16. And I got to see birth for the first time, and it was amazing and fascinating. And it led me to study more about physiological birth, natural birth, what happens when you don't interrupt the birthing process. So it led me to having 3 home births. So all of my daughters were born at home naturally as well. And I continued my study to be able to support women in their process of pregnancy and even conception before you get pregnant and with the delivery.
O sea que, digamos, en Palomino tú actúas también como partera.
Well, right now in Palomino, my work is not so much focusing on midwifing or being a partera. You can say I'm a partera of consciousness, doing the work to midwife and birth this new reality that we're calling forth. And I'm doing the work here of Motherful, of supporting single mothers and building community and building that ecological awareness and consciousness to be able to shift from those patriarchal and extractive models.
Pues qué regalo también para la comunidad de Palomino y para la gente que está en la Sierra Nevada, Shanika. Y muchas gracias por habernos traído a Colombia. desde tu experiencia este gran regalo que nos estás dando. Muchísimas gracias por habernos acompañado en este programa.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.